Good morning. Okay. So it's Thursday. I'm telling you guys as much as I'm telling me. Sometimes I'm wrong. I'm okay with that. It's the life of mom. Life of being home every day all the time. All right. It let me share it to group right away. Wasn't that fantastic? Okay. So, to get my pleasantries out of the way, all of my other videos are on my YouTube. If you would like to see more of the Jesus Time videos, even the essential oil videos, whatever they are, I try to upload them there. So you can find that link in the bio. You can go over there and subscribe. Okay? It tells me people are here. I don't know who they are because it hasn't registered on my screen that I'm live. So say hi to me so that I can know who you are. And maybe it'll register that I'm live. Let's see. Number 2, I do have a podcast. The link is in the bio. It's called A Fresh Perspective Podcast. Number 3, always remember that if you know somebody or have anybody that brings value to your life, tell them. You know, and that goes for your family, that goes for people on social media, that goes for whoever helps you be encouraged in personal development. Even if you think thousands and thousands and thousands of other people tell them, good morning, Caitlin, your voice matters, okay? What you say matters, and they may need to hear exactly what you have to say that day to keep them encouraged, because remember, they're still human too, right? And they still need to be encouraged too. And so, though they do the encouraging, and you think they're super strong, just don't forget, share, like, comment, message them, tell them they bring value to your life. Subscribe, review, whatever it is that app or place that you're looking at or watching does, okay? My 5-year-old is going to be down here with me today, just so you know. All right, so I would like to put this out there. I love you, Jesus. I don't generally want to talk about the topic that I am going to talk about today. So there's that, okay? I woke up with it in my mind, and now I'm like, oh, does that mean I have to talk about it? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, oh. But today I read Psalm 30, part 2. It says, sing praise to the Lord, you faithful, give thanks to his holy memory. For his anger lasts but a moment, his favor a lifetime. I mean, think about that. We ask for forgiveness, right? He covers us in grace. His anger lasts but a moment. Now, our anger, on the other hand, can last for a really long time, right? And that's up to us if we allow it to last for that really long time. And so what I want to talk to you today is about the bait of being offended. And last night we were in a meeting, and it was a meeting about communication in relationships. It was a team meeting that we were having. And one of the ladies there was talking about the bait of offense and how, as Christians, we are not allowed to be offended. I mean, those were her words. And I thought, okay, so what does that mean? You know, I'm laying in bed after this, and I'm thinking about what those words mean, being offended. And I'll tell you a little story. So I have 2 children who are deaf, right? Okay. And a long time ago, this has been years ago, I had a person who I counted as a friend on Facebook. I mean, like a real person that I knew, not some just person, but a real person. And that I knew in my life. And she put up a thing during Easter and had 2 bunnies on it, okay? And I don't remember it all specifics, but I remember, and it said one of the bunnies had its ears cut off, and one of the bunnies didn't. And he said something to the bunny, and the bunny said, I can't hear you. I don't have any ears, or something like that. And the first time I read it, okay, there was a moment, and I was on this path to personal development, walking with God. And there was a moment where I was like, why would she post something like that? Doesn't she know my kids are deaf? And there was a thought in my mind. God has an amazing sense of humor, by the way. But there was a thought in my mind. And he was like, is everybody supposed to know everything about you? And are they supposed to remember everything about you? And I was like, well, yeah. Obviously not. But there was a moment where I had a decision to make. I could be offended by this. I could be hurt. Or I could decide, whatever. It's a picture of two bunnies with their ears cut off. It's not going to offend me. I don't care. And I took the right decision, the one to the right that said, I don't care. And had I not, I would have harbored anger for that. And though I tell you about it, it's not because I harbor anger about it. It's because I want to show you the example of a time where offense could have jumped in, and that could have allowed me to be angry at her. And so what happens when we have anger at other people that we can't stop? See, here it says that God is angry for a moment, but then he gives us favor for a lifetime. But for humans, when we get angry, sometimes we can't let it go. And do you know what happens when you're angry at somebody else? You've given them power over your life. You've given them power over how you feel. You have literally put somebody else in charge of your feelings. And so when they say that forgiveness is not for the person, it's for you, whether that person deserves it or wants it or not. That's why they say that, because forgiveness brings your power back into your arena. It brings your emotions back to you. It says, forgiveness says, I forgive you and I'm taking back this power that you have over me. You don't get to have the power of my anger anymore. You don't get to have the power of my bitterness anymore. You don't get to have the power of my sadness anymore, or whatever it is that it's caused. What is it, baby?
I need to put the same for like this, but you put that punch which comes in it.
We'll go to move the box.
I don't know how. It has stuff in it.
Oh, okay. Well, you're going to have to find something to play with. Give me a minute and I'll be done, okay? And then I'll move it. So when you're taking the bait of offense, when you are being offended, when we are being offended by everything that we see or by something that we see, we have to remember that that literally means we are giving over the power of our emotions, the power of who we are, to somebody else and letting them be in charge of us. And why would we do that? And so why should we not be offended? Why should we just let it go on, roll off our back? Well, one, we're all different, right? Here's the thing. Here's what I learned that day when God said to me, does she know you? Does she know your life? I counted her as a friend, but it wasn't like she was in my inner circle of friends. And even if she had been, nobody knows what you were going through. Nobody understands the walk, okay? So as a mom with 2 deaf children, there are a lot of professionals, all right? A lot of professionals that will tell me what to do about, especially in the beginning, that will tell me how to deal with the path of having children who need cochlear implants, having children who can't hear me for a year before they even get the cochlear implants, and how to tell me how to deal with it afterwards, right? But those people, though they are professionals, though they have studied the books, they have never had a child who is deaf. Most of them. Some of them, yes, probably, maybe. I don't know. I never met anybody, but I did meet some that were deaf. So there was that. But most of them have never had a child who was deaf. And so even though they had the book smarts of knowing where I was in my path, they didn't know the emotional part. They didn't know the mental part. They didn't know any of those. They didn't have the at-home experience, right? And so I had to remember that when I was talking to them, and when I was telling them what is going on and what my child needs, and when I was advocating for him, they did not know. They might tell me that they knew, but they did not actually know what my life was like, what that path actually looked like at home. And that is the same. We have to stop expecting for everybody to know what is going on in our life, to know who we are and what trials we have faced and what tribulations we have faced and how they might have hurt us and what energy we are still feeling in those, how we might not have healed from them yet. So we have to stop giving everybody so much. We have to stop setting our expectations for people so high. I can't expect you, if you're watching this, to possibly know what happens in our home with 5 children as a mother to them, 2 who are deaf every day. And I can't know, on the same vein, what goes through your life every single day. So if I say something that might bring feelings of some kind to you, take a step back. Or if you say something to me, take a step back. Think about it. And realize that it has nothing to do with you. It has to do with that person. It has to do with their life. It has to do with the track they are on. And do not give them... Now listen, here's another part of this. Some people are just evil. All right. We know that. Some people will just say things that are ugly to get a rise out of you. And they're just gonna say whatever they want. They don't care, right? They don't have any worries. They don't have any cares. And so when they do that, you have to remember that you can't give them that power, because that's what they want. That's what Satan wants. He wants you to give the power of your emotions over to somebody else so that you literally have no control. Every time you see that person, now you're angry. Every time you think about that, now you're angry. You could be riding down the road praying. Pops into your mind. What happens? Do you forgive that person? No, now you're bitter and sad. During prayer time with Jesus. What is that? And God's probably like, okay, let's work on forgiveness here. You give that person so much power when you allow them to make you angry. And this could go for anything, but obviously, but being offended is one of the ways to, or choosing to not be offended is one of the ways to be able to control your own emotions. You have a decision every single day when somebody says something to you, whether they are being nice, whether they are ignorant of what you're going through. When I say that, I mean they don't know. Or whether they're being evil or ugly. You have a choice in that moment. Am I going to give these people this power over my life? Am I going to let them make me angry? Am I going to let them take me down this rabbit hole? Or am I going to choose to walk away and realize that, one, they have no idea what I'm going through and I should not expect them to know. Or 2, they are just being evil and that is on them. Right? That is on them. And then the last choice that you have, if it did make you angry, or if you have been harboring angry feelings for somebody, is to forgive them. Because forgiveness doesn't mean that what they did was right. Gosh almighty, this frog in my throat is not going away today. Forgiveness does not mean what they did was right. Forgiveness means what you are doing is taking back the power that you have given them. I see that. Is taking back the power that you have given them. The power over your life. The power over your emotions. The power over who you are. Because the more people that have that power, the less that you have it. And then you walk around an angry, bitter, sad person. And do you think that you can walk God's path like that? Does anybody else think that they can walk God's path like that? No, you can't. Because then again, you are constantly pulled off at a whim every single time. Well, that's going to pull me off because that makes me angry. And that's going to pull me off because that makes me angry. And this makes me angry and this makes me angry. Blah, blah, blah. Every time I'm angry. And now all these people have all this power. You're just going flapping around in the wind and there's no path. So what am I saying? What am I saying that you should do today? Forgive them. Even if it's not about being offended. Even if that person has done something in your life that has hurt you or hurt somebody else in your life, forgiveness is not about saying what they did was right. I have to say that again because I feel like people think that if I forgive them, that means that they're right. That means that they've done the right thing. And that means there's no justice. Justice is not ours. Justice is not ours. Justice does not come on our time. Justice comes on God's time. And He gives the best justice. Like He gives the best grace. And what you might find in your time of forgiveness is that you want less justice and more grace. And that's something that God really works on in us. Oh my gosh. And it is hard to fathom sometimes that how am I going to want grace for this person after all of these things that have happened? Oh my gosh. I am like, all I can do is flash back to my 20s when all the stuff happened and in my life. And all I can think is, why do I want grace for that person now? When for so long I wanted justice, maybe revenge. And sometimes it's hard for us to admit. But maybe you want that in your heart. Maybe that's what you want. You want justice and you want revenge. And you feel like if you hold on to this anger that you have for this person, that it's going to bring that someday, somehow. But what you don't really realize is it's actually taking your life away. It's actually taking the time that you have away to enjoy whoever is in front of you right now. So this forgiveness can go for people who sort of offend you, maybe a little bit, to all the way to the people who have hurt you in your life. Forgiveness spans everybody. Forgiveness gives you all of your power back. And it gives God, it gives Him the power in their life. Whatever that is. Yeah. Are you Santa? Yeah. Okay. It gives you your power back, and it gives God the moment to mete out the justice or whatever it is that person needs from Him. So when you refuse to forgive somebody because, oh, they hurt me, and then when you refuse to forgive somebody and you say, I'm putting up this wall, I'm never allowing. When you refuse to forgive somebody, this is what happens, right? I'm putting up this wall now. I'm never allowing anybody else to do this to me ever again. I'm never allowing love in ever again. What, son? No ice cream sandwich. I'll be done in just a minute, please. You put up this wall and you say, I'm never allowing anybody to love me ever, ever, ever again. Wait a minute, please. And what happens then? Then, if somebody accidentally comes near that wall, right? And then they hurt you. And then there's another wall to love. A wall against love. And then somebody else does it. And there's another wall against love. And there's another wall against love. So do you see how forgiveness actually gives you your power back? Forgiveness actually gives you your life back? Yeah, it's hard. Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to forgive people that hurt you. It's like, it's one of those things where it's against human nature all sometimes. No, sir. No. You can stand right there, but you're not going to get in the video, okay? So, yeah, it's hard. Forgiveness is hard. It's one of those things where, like I said, it's against human nature. But forgiving those that hurt you, no matter what it is, that gives you your power back and gives God His time to do His thing. You're carrying it around for no reason. Hey, I'm going to have to ask you to go back upstairs if you keep trying to get in the video, okay?
Okay.
Thank you. So I hope that you see through this video why forgiving is such a big deal for you. No matter whether or not a person deserves it, no matter whether or not you think that justice should be dealt or has never been dealt, forgiveness is a big deal for you to take your power back. Every single day you make a decision. We started off talking about this, right? Every single day you make a decision as to whether or not you want to let something offend you or make you feel angry, make you feel bitter. And when we make those decisions and we go the way of anger and bitterness and resentment, our life takes a different path and we walk away from God. But when we decide that we are not going to give the world that power, we walk with God. And then when we decide to forgive, we walk with God. And you get your power back. And don't you think it's the sweetest justice for the people who have hurt you to see you walking with God, to see you no longer allowing them to affect your life. And maybe, just maybe, that will inspire them. Maybe, just maybe, that will inspire them to walk their path with God too. Because that's what we're here for. That's what we're here to inspire. And that's all. So don't take the bait of offense today. Don't allow it to put anger in your heart. And if you have somebody that you are working on forgiving, or that you have yet to start working on forgiving, understand that right now you're giving them the greatest power in your life by letting them have power over your emotions. And if you are mad about this video right now, listen, I understand. Because if I'd have watched this video back in the day when all the things were happening, I would have been mad. I'd have been like, no, he does not deserve that, and you cannot tell me. You cannot tell me that he deserves it. And I would have walked away from this video with my heart closed and not thought another minute about it. But the thing about that is, right now, God is planting a seed in your heart to convict you to forgive them. If you need to, Google search forgiveness verses in the Bible. Okay? When something pricks your pride so much that it makes you angry and you close your heart to it, that means you need it almost the most. Maybe the most. That means that you are so close to that situation that it is something that you actually need to work on. So if you can think rationally in the moment of, she doesn't know what she's talking about, then I want you to go and look in the mirror and say, what am I doing here? How can I start this process? And talk to God about it. Because he's going to show you. That's why you're watching this video, and that's why you're hearing these words. He's going to show you the power of forgiveness. And it's time for you to do it. It's time for you to stop fighting against it. It's time for you to stop being stubborn about it. It's time for you to stop being angry about it. It's time for you to just get over this wall and do it. That's what it's time for. And that's why you're watching this. And know that we are all walking the same path with you together. If you think, oh gosh, this is going to be hard. Yeah, I'm not going to lie to you. It is. But no, we are all walking the same path with you. We all have people that we need to forgive in our life for one thing or the other. We all have maybe traumatic things that have happened to us, or trauma, pain, hurt, things that have happened to us. And we all have things to work on. So we're all walking this path with you. So don't be afraid. Don't be scared. You're about to take back power from somebody else and unlock happiness that you didn't even know you had inside you. You're about to break down walls against love that you didn't even know that you had built. And when you break them down, you're going to allow the greatest love inside, which is God. And then you have no idea the possibilities that can happen after that. You think right now, I'm not loved. But that's because you built the walls. It's time to break them down. Every day. It's a process. I realize that. But every day, it's time to break them down and start with forgiveness. And sometimes that might look like forgiving yourself too. If God has forgiven you, it's time to forgive you too. Okay. I'm going to go. Thanks for being here with me today. I'm going to pray for you because I know that forgiveness is hard. I work on it every day too. Just because I think I have forgiven sometimes, then all of a sudden something pops up and I'm like, oh, okay, maybe I didn't do what I thought I had done. Or maybe there's another layer of forgiveness that I need to work on. And that's okay, because it's layer by layer, time by time, step by step with God. And He'll get you through it. So, I love you guys. Thanks for being here. I'm proud of you. Have a great Thursday.